Facebook Live started. Hey, Facebook, what's up? Happy Friday. I got Facebook going on this camera. Hi, Facebook. I got IG going on this camera. Hi, IG. It's Friday. It's a gorgeous day here in San Francisco. I'm just finishing up my coffee. I slept in this morning. I've had this monster head cold. Excuse me. And I am still clearing the funk in my head, like so congested, but I feel so much better today. I don't know what it was, man. There's a lot happening energetically right now. Things are a little bit crazy and intense, which is kind of what I want to talk about today. And I know, for the past couple of years, I just don't see any more separation between like what's happening energetically or, spiritually or physically or health-wise. Like it's all part of the same organism. And so I know that there's always an energetic reason and another level of information about when we have an illness or what's going on. And I don't fully understand what I've been clearing, with this cold, but whatever it was, it's been powerful. But I'm feeling much better today. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Give me some love. Give me a heart or a thumbs up if you can hear me, if you can see me okay. The connection sometimes is a little wonky when I'm doing live streams, but I'm as close to the wireless router as I can possibly get without maybe, shoving it up my ass. So, so this is as strong as we can get with this connection today. And today's topic is all about chaos. For those of you that are tuning in and are wondering, what's Andrea going to talk about today? Normally I will do a monthly energy transmission. Thank you, you guys. I am feeling much better. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. I feel the love and I appreciate the support. And for those of you who reached out personally to say, get well soon and send me well wishes, I really appreciate it. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So, for those of you who've been following me for a while, I normally will do like an energy transmission for the month. And then somewhere along the lines, I generally will do like an update. And I've played back and forth over the past couple of years with the format, doing pre-recorded and then doing live and then only doing live and now kind of going back and forth. And so this one I wanted to do live because this is a topic that has been coming up for a lot of us, I know. And I've been dealing with this not only with my clients, with my one-on-one sessions and my coaching, my mentorship clients, but I've also been seeing this in my own life. And this was something that I talked about yesterday on my radio show. So if you're interested in listening to a discussion about this that I had with my co-host Jeremy Nudell, you can go to my website, andrewmartin.energy, and click the radio tab, and you'll see the archive, the player with all the archived episodes on it. So if you want to read more about it, or listen more about it, you can. But I want to talk about chaos today. Chaos is like my favorite topic lately. I mean, things are kind of crazy right now. I think we can all sort of agree. So give me a thumbs up or a heart or an emoji if you have been experiencing sort of plot twists and things kind of collapsing out of nowhere. And what the hell just happened? WTF, where did that come from? Because I know that I am not the only one, and I know my clients are not the only one. Yep, I see the responses, totally. So you're not alone, I think, is the first thing to understand. Chaos is a really, really interesting topic. And even if you search like the Roman god Chaos, chaos is this force, this deity or this consciousness. And in the Roman pantheon, chaos was the thing that existed before any of the other gods, before anything else. So chaos, literally, if we're looking at, sort of the mythology of the idea of chaos, chaos is the soup from which all things grow and, stem and explode and come from. It's also what I've been dealing a lot with is the void, right? This idea of the void. And this is something I'm going to be talking about when I'm in London in a couple of weeks. I'll be at the College of Psychic Studies the week of February 13th. So that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you're in London and you want to check it out, go to the College of Psychic Studies website and you can find out more about it. But this idea of the void and chaos oftentimes when it comes into our life, what happens is we just go into shutdown mode, right? We just go into freak out mode or control mode. I have said this oftentimes, I'm a recovering control freak. And chaos for me oftentimes triggers that part of me that just wants to do the death grip on it and say, no, this is how it has to be. This is what my expectations were. This is the idea that I had in mind for how this was going to play out. And if it doesn't look or feel like this, then it's wrong, or I've done something wrong, or it's a failure, or it's not successful. And I understand that because we oftentimes get so into mental mode, especially this time of year, right? The beginning of the year it's like we just feel like we just made it across the finish line, right? And here we are on the threshold of the new year, and we're ready to make all these changes, and we're ready to move into all these new experiences, and we're ready for just the newness of the new year. And so we get into mental mode of the planning and how's it going to look, and what am I going to do, and what are the things I'm going to achieve. And all of that is important. I think it's really, really important for us to understand that we're always doing this balancing act of the physical self and the non-physical self, and the merging of the two over the past couple of years has created this new level of awareness and this new way of being, and we're still kind of figuring it out. So when chaos comes up, especially in times like this, when we're at the beginning of the year and we feel like we have a clean slate and we want to do something new, especially when things on the planet are seem so crazy and haywire and like they're going sideways, we oftentimes really desire and really need the assertion of control on our experience and the feeling that we are in charge and that we are the one that's driving the bus. And the mind always wants to do that through control, right? The mind always wants to know what's the plan, what's the outcome, what's the story, what's the role that I am supposed to play here. But chaos oftentimes takes us to a place where we have no other choice but just to be where we are. And I think one of the most important things that we can remember is when things are chaotic and when things do not seem to make sense, find yourself first. And what I mean by that is, if you imagine just for a second, as I'm talking about chaos and as this subject has been coming up in my sessions with my clients and in my own life, the image that I keep seeing over and over and over, and the message that I keep getting is just find yourself. And the image that I see is, imagine if like a natural disaster have just occurred, like the tsunami that happened several years ago, the really, really big, devastating one, or like the tornadoes that went through the Midwest, through Oklahoma and through Kansas a couple of years ago that were massive, some of the biggest ones we've ever seen. Or like here in San Francisco years ago, way back when the Great Fire broke out and everything was just decimated. And you don't even have, I remember I have family who live in Kansas, and when I was there recently, they were talking about, we were driving through part of Oklahoma where the big, gigantic tornado had come through, and they were talking about how people couldn't even find their homes because all of the landmarks were gone, right? Like the big oak tree that's on the corner that you say, take a right at the oak tree was gone. The radio towers, the buildings, there was so much devastation, and there was so much chaos that had completely wiped everything away that they didn't even know where they were in the town that they grew up in. They had no point of reference. And so the image that I often see when we're dealing with chaos is like that wreckage. You're standing in the middle of this destruction. You're standing in the middle of the thing that you used to know. You're standing in the middle of what was once familiar, and you may as well be on another planet. And I know that oftentimes when chaos comes into our lives, that's how we feel. All of a sudden, it's like, who the fuck's life is this? I don't even know who I am anymore. What is going on? None of this makes sense. This is not at all what I had in mind. Give me a thumbs up or a heart if you can relate, right? This idea of like, what just happened here? I don't even know who I am anymore. Whose life is this? The one thing that we always have access to is that inner connection point. That inner place, that connection to our source, that connection to ourself, our higher place of awareness. And that's us, right? We are not separate from that thing out there. That's where we come from. That's what home is. And so when you're in the midst of standing in the landscape that used to once be so familiar and used to hold all of the security blankets and the touchstones and the comfort zones, and none of it makes sense anymore, that is always an opportunity to go from outwardly focused to inwardly directed. And I want to just do a quick exercise with you guys. So if you just want to close your eyes with me, excuse me, I'm still a little bit stuffy, so I might be sniffing. But just take a breath. A deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth, and just settle into the body. Just feel yourself connected where you are right now. Feel the chair or the bed or the couch or the floor beneath your butt wherever you're sitting. Feel the floor beneath your feet. Feel the clothes on your body where they're tight, where they make contact with your skin. Become aware of the room. Is there a breeze? Is it warm? Is it cool? Do you feel sunlight on any part of your body directly? Just feel yourself present within your body. Feel yourself connected, and now feeling your way through your body. Is there anywhere in your body that feels tight? Is there anywhere in your body that feels uncomfortable? Just become aware of it. This is not about judging anything. This is just about grounding into your body. Using your breath to continue to deepen that connection to your physical vessel. This is you. This is you present within your body. Become aware of any thoughts that you might be having right now. Become aware of any mental chatter and just observe it, kind of like you're listening to a radio broadcast or watching TV, and you just become aware of it. You become aware of your breath. And there's an interesting thing that happens when we connect to where we are. We begin to cultivate this awareness of the observer. And the observer says, I am not the one who is having the thoughts. I am the one observing the one who is having the thoughts. I am not the one who is breathing. I am the one who is observing the one who is breathing. I am the one who is present within the body. I am the one who is present within the experience of Andrew. I am aware of Andrew. I know myself and experience myself through Andrew. And you can become aware in this moment of just where you are. Just for that moment, it's not about what's going on out here. It's not even really about what's going on up here in terms of allowing it to sort of pick you up and carry you away with it. Right? You're still going to have thoughts. You're still going to have experiences. You're still going to have whatever your life is showing you. But just for that moment, be present. Unplug from the mind. Unplug from the outer world just for a second. Become self-referential. Reference that place of truth within you that always exists. Reference that point within you that after the story of Andrew or Bob or Joe or Betty or Sue or whatever name you are in this lifetime, you are the one that remains. After the story of Andrew is over, after this body is dead and gone, I still remain. And I see that Andrew is a chapter in a book. Andrew is a paragraph on a page. Andrew is a sentence within a paragraph, however granular you want to get. But I am the one that remains after the story of Andrew is over. I am the one who has chosen the experience of Andrew. so that I may know myself in a new way. So the first thing that we can do in the midst of chaos is just find yourself. Right? Okay, so my whole world has just fallen apart. Everything that I thought was going to happen or that I wanted to happen or that I had been building, everything that I have known for whatever period of time has collapsed. But I am still here. I am still here. You always have yourself. No matter what, we always have that connection right here. And this is the point of reference. This is the seat of truth. This is the power. This is the place where the power comes from. This is the place where we connect to our innate sense of being, our innate sense of power, our innate sovereignty, that innate sense of love that we come from. So chaos oftentimes shows up in our lives to strip away everything that we thought we needed, everything that we thought we knew, to remind us of the truth. Here's what I know to be true, is that in life, the only reason that we are ever asked to give something up, the only reason that we ever have the experience of something being taken from us or for losing something, is because we don't need it anymore. And the mind, of course, is going to go into panic mode because the mind says, well, who am I if I am not that person that was in the relationship that they didn't love? Who am I if I am not the person who was in the job that kind of sucked, but they were just doing it because they had to pay the bills and they don't really know what else they want to do? Who am I if I am not the one with the plan of everything that's going to happen in this order, ABC, XYZ, 1, 2, 3? Who am I? And the mind freaks out because the mind only ever wants something that is controllable, predictable, and has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The mind does not care if you are happy. I say this all the time. The mind doesn't care if we are happy. The mind only cares that we are safe and that we are in the zone that it considers to be the comfort zone, which, by the way, the comfort zone is not always comfortable. It's just predictable and knowable. And chaos always shows us what is complete, what we no longer need, what is ready to collapse, what is ready to erupt. Chaos arises when something isn't working anymore. And 99% of the time, it has nothing to do with what we did or didn't do. It just means that we have reached the end of the chapter. And it's time to turn the page. But the mind gets into this death grip and says, but no, who am I without this thing? And it's a very interesting thing that oftentimes we sit and we say, God, I wish I had another job. God, I wish I wasn't in this unhappy relationship. God, I wish I knew what my life purpose was. And then what happens? We have an opportunity to leave the relationship. We get fired from the job. Or life throws us some circumstances that all of a sudden force us to go in a new direction. And what do? We wrap ourselves in the struggle blanket. Suddenly, the very thing that we were so desperate to get rid of or get out of or remove ourselves from, we finally have an opportunity now to do just that. And what do? We freak out. Nope, I was just kidding. I don't really want to leave the job. No, I can be happy in this relationship. I swear I'm happy, right? No, it's okay. I don't need to be self-employed. I don't need to find my purpose. No, I just want safety. I want to be comfortable. I want predictability. But life is always leading us in the direction of our highest expression. And when something is done, it is done. And it doesn't matter if you're ready for it to be done from your mental perspective, because the rest of you, that part of you in here that you connected with, is always guiding you to the highest expression. And it doesn't care if you're comfortable. It doesn't care if you don't think you're ready. It doesn't care if you're afraid and you think that you can't do it. It knows what you're capable of, and it is always guiding you towards that. So there's a couple of things that when chaos shows up in our lives that we can do. Number one is let go of the idea that it's good or bad, successful or failure, happy or sad, and just understand that it is valuable. You don't have to know why it's here. You don't have to know what's on the other side of it. Trust me, you don't. All you have to do is be willing to be present in your experience and say, man, this is really tough. This really sucks. I am really afraid. I am really unsure. I don't know what the fuck to do. I wish I had a plan, but I don't. But I am here. I am willing. I am present with myself. Give me a thumbs up, give me an emoji, give me a heart if this feels true for you. Because this is the other thing. Only you know what truth feels like, right? Only you know what truth feels like, period. You are the only one that knows what it is time for you to do. You are the only one that knows what isn't working anymore. You are the only one that knows what that quiet little voice of your true self is saying. Hey, don't you think it's time to do that thing? Hey, don't you think it's time to ask that question? Hey, don't you want to go and see what's over there? Hey, are you really happy? Do you think that this is all that you can have? That's you. That's you calling yourself forward. So trusting that voice and trusting that nudge and trusting that there is value even in your experience, even if you don't know what the value is, even if you don't know why it's happening, and even if you can't wait to be anywhere other than this fucking place right now that is so uncomfortable and so difficult. Because here's what I know to be true. This is the other tip I'm going to give you. In order for lasting positive change to occur, you got to be willing to ask the tough questions. You got to be willing to have the difficult conversations. You got to be willing to hear the tough answers. You got to be willing to step across the threshold of your comfort zone. And people often say to me, well, I want to wait until the right time. Right? I just want to wait until the right time. And you know what that means? I want to wait until the right time is code for I want to do it at a time when it's not difficult. I want to wait for the time that I can do it where I don't feel uncomfortable. Well, get comfortable because that time is never going to come. There are some decisions that aren't meant to be easy. There are some decisions that aren't supposed to be comfortable because if they were, they wouldn't force you to grow. You've got to be willing to, if something wants to go, let it go. If something wants to fall apart, let it fall apart. If something wants to fly, let it fly. Because if something is for you, it will always be for you. If something can be taken from us, it will be. So if it can be taken from you, let it be. Because if it is taken from you, it never belonged to you. It's impermanent. Like this body. This body doesn't really belong to me. This body is my responsibility for this lifetime, and I want to take the best care of it that I can, but it's not really mine because the body's going to die when it dies. The body's going to end when it ends, and I really have no say over that. So the body will be taken from me at some point, and the experience of Andrew will be over. And the only reason the body will be taken from me is because it never belonged to me to begin with. So letting yourself move in the direction of your discomfort, letting yourself face the thing that perhaps you don't want to face, that's the very thing that holds your power. Here's the other thing that I know is true. Every single thing that you ever need, every single thing that we ever require is always present in this moment right now. And it has nothing to do with what the mind thinks you need. It has nothing to do with what the mind requires so that it can feel comfortable and safe and secure in its experience of this very limited perspective that the mind has. And I'm not bashing the mind. We need the mind, right? Without the mind, I'm not a human. At least not a fully functioning one. But the mind serves the heart, right? So every single thing that you ever require is always present in this moment. And when we are so dead set on escaping the present moment, saying, well, when I'm over there, I'll be happy. When I have that thing, I'll be happy. When I have this answer to that question, which is down the line, I'll be happy. If I could just go back in time and redo that thing that keeps bothering me and that, is nagging at me, then I would be happy. No. You're continuing to create this idea that your happiness and your power and your completion is somewhere out there, and you are just perpetuating this reality where you will never have it. And if you don't have it in the present moment, it's because you don't need it in the present moment. Now, this is where we get into how do we nurture ourselves and caretake ourselves through these challenging moments. You are being given an opportunity to love yourself in a way that you never have before. Chaos always represents an opportunity for deeper compassion, for more complete self-love, for accessing that space of unconditional love and infinite compassion. It is saying to yourself, wow, yeah, it's really tough right now. Wow, yeah, I know that you're upset. Wow, yeah, this thing just ended and you need to have a good cry, or you need to have a good scream, or you need to go sweat it out at the gym, or whatever. It's not saying that you're not going to have challenges and emotional experiences and difficult situations, because they are calling you to a deeper connection with yourself, deeper than you have ever experienced before. Because the foundation that your entire life is built upon is your relationship with yourself. Your life is only ever a reflection of your relationship with yourself. What do we believe is true? What do we believe we can have? Is the belief system that we have sustainable? And as your foundation grows, right, your foundation that you stand upon gets bigger and stronger and more powerful, the more deep your relationship with yourself becomes, right? When you know yourself to be a sovereign, eternal, infinite being who came here to play in the fields of limitation, then you know yourself. You know who you are. You know what you are, and you stand on that. So your foundation now is big. It is rock solid. It is massive. But it doesn't always start out that way. And so in order for that foundation to get bigger and stronger and more powerful, all the other stuff that stands in its way has got to collapse. And that's where your job, our job of loving ourselves through that becomes so crucial. You're the only one that knows what is true for you. You're the only one that knows what truth feels like. And in the beginning, you're oftentimes not going to have an answer. Oftentimes, the only thing you have is how you feel. I'll give you an example. In 2013, when I quit my full-time job to begin building my practice, I didn't really have a fucking plan. I had about 2 cents in my 401k and maybe 25 cents in the bank or whatever. I had very little in terms of a safety net. Yes, I have family who was able to help me out when I needed it, but they weren't paying all my bills. And I just knew that it was time for me to leave my job. I just knew that it was time. I didn't know why. I didn't know how. I didn't know what was going to happen on the other side of that. And people were saying to me, Andrew, what's the plan? And I would say, well, I'm going to sort of do this thing, I guess. I don't really know. And people would look at me and, P.S., there were some people that were not super close to me, and I just told them I'm going to focus on my art, right? At the time, I was painting and doing a lot of artwork, and I just said, you know what, I'm quitting my job to focus on my art, because I didn't really feel like I owed them an explanation, and they wouldn't have really understood it anyway. So that's the other thing, is you don't owe anyone an explanation for anything. But the people that were close to me, and the people that were really, in my inner circle, I was being much more honest with them. And I would say, I'm just going to do this thing. I don't know. I'm going to start doing readings. I'm going to start doing intuitive work. And they would say, oh, but girl, what's the plan? I was like, I don't know. And they're like, Andrew, that's kind of crazy. And my response was, I know. It sounds crazy on paper. And my mind is twisting in panic, trying to figure out what the fuck is going to happen and what the hell am I doing, trying to make sense of this. But all I know is how I feel. Even in the midst of this craziness, I know that this is the thing that I have to do. This is the thing that I cannot ignore anymore. This voice has been tapping me on the shoulder and knocking at the door for way too long. And the only choice I have at this point is to listen to it. Because the alternative, to continue to ignore it, takes a greater and greater amount of effort for me to pretend that there's this thing that isn't, calling me forward. And the longer and the harder that I try to ignore it, the more of my effort and my energy and my strength and my power it's taking, and it's bleeding me dry. I have to do this thing. Now, I am not telling anybody what to do. I'm not saying that you got to do what I did. I have always kind of been comfortable just taking the leap and trusting that I'll be caught on the way down. And yeah, in hindsight, I could have made a little bit more of a, cushion for myself. I could have saved up a little bit more money. I could have had a little bit more of a plan other than I'm just going to quit my job and see what happens. But that's how I did it. The point is, you can't ignore that voice You can't, you can ignore that voice for your whole life. You can pretend that you don't know what you know. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to deplete you so fast it'll make your head spin. And especially this year with Saturn in Capricorn and all the shifts that are happening right now. And we're getting ready to come up to this full moon and the eclipse. And we're starting eclipse season. And man, eclipse season, if nothing else, is all about big change. So trusting that voice that it is always guiding you in the direction of your highest expression. And here's the thing, it is under no obligation to make sense to you. It's just your job to find a way to give it a voice. The work that you came here to do, the purpose that you came here to serve, already knows what it is. It's just your job now to figure out how to let it come out, how to open up to express it, how to release it into the world and share it. There's another tool that I want to give you. So when you're in chaotic times, when you're feeling like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, I'm freaking out, I don't know what I need right now, I'm lost. One of my favorite exercises, sorry, I just needed to refresh my caffeine level. So raise your hand or give me an emoji or a thumbs up if you are a journaler, if you like to journal, or if you are a meditator. Because this exercise can be done either through journaling or through meditation. You can also do it just sort of mentally, but I like with this exercise, I like to create what we talked about in the beginning of the video, like the idea of the observer. This exercise really is a very powerful way to help to cultivate your inner observer, because this is the deal. That observer is really who you are. That's your soul. That's your higher self. That's you from the non-physical place, the divine self speaking through you. So really that's what that does. So this exercise can be done through journaling or through meditation. So very, very simple. Would you find yourself in a place and you're not really sure what to do? So this can either be a moment of like, oh my God, I'm super stressed out and I'm really, having an emotional experience, or it can just be, I'm not really clear in my life what I need right now. I don't really know what to do right now, right? So it can be big and abstract, or it can be very specific. You're going to take a second and you're going to, again, you're going to close your eyes. Excuse me. You're going to take a couple of deep breaths. You're going to connect to that internal place, your inner connection with your source. And if you're journaling, you're going to get your pen and your paper. You can also do it on a laptop or computer, but I like the actual physical act of writing because I think that it's very powerful. Or you're just going to sit and you're going to meditate. What you're going to do is when you close your eyes, you're going to imagine that you see yourself as you are in this moment. So let's say here I am sitting in the living room and I'm having a moment where I'm just lost and I don't know what to do. So I'm going to sit, I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to imagine that I can see myself. I'm going to imagine that I'm sitting across from myself. I'm going to imagine that I'm just a fly in the wall, excuse me, or that I'm hovering above the living room and I'm just observing myself. And I'm going to ask the very, very simple question, from this place of the observer, from this place of being the one who loves myself unconditionally, from this place of just a compassionate observer, what is it that Andrew needs right now? What is it that I can tell Andrew right now that will comfort him? What is it right now that would just help Andrew feel safe, feel loved, feel connected, feel heard, feel valued, whatever? Ask all of those questions and just begin to write. I'm looking at Andrew right now and man, he needs a hug. I'm looking at Andrew right now and I can see very clearly that what would help him right now is just to have a really good cry. I'm looking at Andrew right now and he needs to really just get out and move his body. He's been so stuck in his anxiety and his tension for the past 2 days, worrying about it and trying to work it out all in his head. And very clearly, he's just at the end of his rope. He just needs to go walk around the block, go to the beach and get his feet in the sand, go sit outside and just look at the clouds, sit in the grass. He needs to go have a really good workout and just sweat it out. He just needs to get his mind off of this current situation. Andrew needs to find someone to talk to. Andrew needs to just take better care of himself, find a way, drink more water, get more sleep, eat better food, right? So whatever it is, and if you're doing this through meditation, then you just imagine that you're observing and you're just doing a dialogue of this in your mind, and you can jot some things down. What this exercise does is this begins to create that observer perspective for you that says, okay, I'm just going to watch Andrew right now. I'm going to see what he needs, and I'm going to do my best to give it to him. Because oftentimes we get so caught up in what's going on out there down the road, next week, next month, what the hell's going to happen, that we forget about right now, right here, right now. And again, right here, right now is where all of your power is. Right now is where all of your truth is. Right now is the only moment that ever exists. So when you take a second to just rise above the chaos and observe yourself within it, it just gives you a little bit of perspective. This, again, chaos represents an opportunity for us to redirect from being outwardly focused to inwardly directed. When I let my heart, when I let my connection to my source be the thing that gives me the guidance and the insight and the information, then I take that guidance and that insight information and then I give it to the mind, right? The mind is my assistant. So I say, okay, heart, what's going on here? What do you need me to know? What would really help Andrew right here, right now? And you get that information, then that becomes a thing that you say, okay, we're going to start here. We're going to start with this. There's another idea that I want to share with you, and then we'll begin wrapping this up. The idea of the plan. Give me a thumbs up or a heart or an emoji if you are a planner. If you're saying, man, I would do whatever I needed to do if I just knew the plan, right? I would live my life's purpose. I would quit my job. I would leave my unhappy relationship. I would move across the world right now if I knew what to do, if I knew what the steps were, if I knew what the outcome was, if I just knew where I was going. Can't someone please tell me what to do? And I absolutely raise my hand and say, I'm there with y'all. I get the same thing. Even, I'm going on my 5th year with my practice now. Even, someone who is in the business and whose job it is in this lifetime, and, my joy of this life is to serve the way that I do. I still get caught up in it, just saying, can't you just fucking tell me, right? Just give me the answer. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just tell me what to do. Well, first of all, that is a completely disempowering thing, right? This idea that someone out there or something out there is going to tell you what to do so that you can just go do it. That's the opposite of being sovereign. That's the opposite of being self-directed. That's just being sort of a puppet of the universe and saying, oh, okay, well, you told me to do this, so I'm going to do it. So the plan, number one, I promise you don't want the plan. If you knew what the plan was, chances are you wouldn't think you were capable of it. And I'll talk about myself, not to be a conversational narcissist, but I'll give you a little bit of my own experience just as an example. In 2012, when I finally had, the awakening experience where it was like banging on the door saying, Andrew, are you fucking ready yet? It's time. You can't put this off anymore. It's time. You've got to make a decision. So in 2012, I made a decision. And I said, okay, I don't know who you are up there. I don't know what that voice is that I'm hearing literally outside of me. I don't know what the fuck is going on with my life. It just keeps falling apart and getting harder and harder. But whatever it is, I'll do it. Whatever you want me to do, whoever you are, I will surrender. Just get me back to Seattle, get me a job in an apartment, and I will do whatever I have to do. I was desperate for the plan. I was so caught up in this idea of having to know what am I going to do and how am I going to do it, that I immobilized myself. I know now, looking back, I didn't want the plan, because if someone had come up to me and said, okay, Andrew, you're going to watch a 3-minute video now of what's going to happen for you in the next 5 years. If I had seen that, I would have said, fuck that, man. I'm going back to my old life, right? It's not so bad. I can do this, because I didn't think it was possible. From where I was in that moment of collapse, in that moment of surrender, in that moment of I don't know what the hell to do, there is no way that if I had seen myself sitting right here, right now in 2018 in San Francisco doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't have thought that I was capable of it. There's no way. I would have said, how the hell am I going to do that? So you don't want the plan, because the plan is you. You are the plan. You are the one that gets to decide what you do and what steps you take and what action you take. Someone else in here on Instagram said in the comments, there's a saying that I love: clarity. At some point, we can do all the meditating, we can do all the connecting, we can do all the listening and the journaling and the, all of that and the receiving, and that is important. But at some point, clarity can only come through action. At some point, we've got to take a step. At some point, we've got to make a decision. And here's the beautiful thing, you little control freaks. Wait, I just lost my point. Oh, right, you little control freaks. Life is self-correcting. The universe is self-correcting. If you go left when you should have gone right, it's fine. It's like GPS. It'll find the new route. If you said no when you should have said yes, then the opportunity will come back around. When something is for you, it can't not be for you. Right? So when you're in that place and you don't know what to do, just be willing and show up. And here's the thing, being willing to show up and take action in your life doesn't mean you have to be happy about it. Right? It doesn't mean you have to put on a fake face, right? So often in spiritual circles, just be grateful, just get in the vortex, just be happy. No, you don't have to put on some fake fucking smile and pretend that you're someone that you're not. I can show up and be willing to say, okay, here I am, universe. I'm really fucking scared. I'm really pissed. I'm really frustrated. I'm really unsure. But I'm here. I'm here. And I am willing. And oftentimes, we say, well, I don't know what the step is. I don't know what to do. I've been asking for a sign and I haven't got anything. I don't know where to go. I don't know what choice to make. Usually that, to me, again, that's code for I don't want to take the choice that I know I have to take, make the choice I know I have to make. I don't want to take action, right? I got a sign, but I didn't want that sign. I wanted another sign. Just take a step. Just make a choice. I guarantee you that everything that you need is here right now. And even if you're like, well, I'm 80% sure that this is the right choice, just make it anyway. The universe is self-correcting. A lot of times it's also, I see this all the time, people saying, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? And the universe is saying, dude, we can't give you the next step because you haven't taken the one in front of you yet. We are only ever creating in the now moment. Creation in real time means that step 2 can't come until I take step 1, because step 2 is infinite. It can be anything, right? If you think about where you're sitting right now, in this moment right now, there are an infinite number of ways that you can get up and proceed, right? For myself, an example, I can get up with one eye closed. I can get up with my sweatshirt off. I can get up holding a cup, holding a pen, singing, dancing, hopping up and down on one foot. There are an infinite number of ways that I can get up and move from where I am right now. And every single choice every single possibility of how I can get up and walk across the room represents an infinite number of choices of what would happen after that. So this idea that life is going to be 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, and always be linear and clear and black and white, that's not how it works. When you are standing in that place of chaos, the destruction of everything that you used to know, when nothing makes sense, when you don't know what any of it means, that's a really powerful place. Because that means it can be anything you want. That means you can do whatever you want in that moment. You've got nothing to lose. When it all falls apart, what the fuck else do I have to lose? And when you take that leap, when you take that step, the universe always rises up to meet you. But how can it meet you if it doesn't know where you're going? How can the road show you where to go when you even haven't chosen a direction yet? So finding that place of connection in chaos, when the whole world outside of you makes no sense and there is no point of reference anymore, and you can't even find your North Star, it's in here. It's in here. And a lot of us are only ever gonna, modern humans, we love our comfort, we love our convenience. We love, I want it now, I want it now, I want it now. Where is it? I just ordered my food like 5 minutes ago. Where is it? Right? I'm on Tinder. I don't like this person. Where's a new person that's cuter or smarter or funnier? Our modern life, we don't like to be uncomfortable. And so sometimes, in order to wake up, we need a really, really loud alarm. For many of us, the only time we're ever gonna make a change is when our back is to the wall and we have no other choice. Raise your hand, give me a heart or a thumbs up if that sounds like you. If you're the kind of person that says, yeah, I'm totally down to be, I can make change. Well, when I have no other choice, right? Yeah, I can do that only if I have to, right? Like I'm only going to do laundry when I have no more clothes to wear. I'm only going to wash dishes when everything's fucking dirty. And I'm not judging. I'm the same way. But the point is, it doesn't have to be like that, because I promise you that voice is always speaking to you and guiding you. It's just that the longer you ignore it, the louder it has to get, right? First, God throws a pebble, then a stone, then a rock, then a boulder, then a fucking comet, and then a whole planet, right? What does it take? What is it going to take for you to finally stop and connect and listen to that voice, and more importantly, trust it? Because that voice is you. Spoiler alert, that voice is you. When it comes down to it, a spiritual experience is between you, the human self, and you, the non-physical self. Because you are God, you are source, you are creation, you are the same spark that created all of it. And you just wanted to know yourself as a human for a little while. And so you chose to know yourself as this experience in this lifetime. And so this is between you and you. A lack of faith and a lack of trust in the universe is really just a lack of faith or trust in yourself. And I understand it. We live in a world where there are billion-dollar industries built around making us feel bad about ourselves, making us distrust ourselves, making us second-guess ourselves, telling us that if you buy this thing or take this pill or do this thing or eat that thing or look like that or listen to this or watch that, then you'll be happy, then you'll be okay. Then no. Just give me your power. Just give me the keys to your castle. Just let me be the one to make all the decisions for you. Don't, right? So, of course, we have not been taught how to be powerful. We have not been taught how to access the things that we are born with. I promise you, every single thing that you need is present right now in some way. And oftentimes, the only thing that you have to do is ask to be shown. Okay, universe, I don't know how this is going to happen. I am willing to make the change, but I have no fucking clue how. So please show me. Give me a sign. Give me an opportunity. Give me something to show me. I just need a crack, right? I just need a little sliver of a crack to see through. And then once that shows up, be willing to step forward. And then be willing to step forward again. And then be willing to step forward again. So you don't have to wait until your back's against the wall. And if you do, then that's what you wait for. There's nothing wrong with that, right? This is about loving yourself where you are. Meet yourself where you are. When everything has fallen apart and nothing makes sense and nothing is clear, you always have access to yourself. In chaos, find yourself first and then act. Put on your oxygen mask first, and then help your fellow passengers. Because the universe is under no obligation to make sense to any of us. And we came here, I say this all the time, we did not come here for chutes and ladders. We did not come here for ages, 2 and up. We came here for an experience that is commensurate with our abilities as a master. The Olympian goes to the Olympics because they want to know what the greatest competition on the planet is like. The Olympian doesn't get to the Olympics and go, oh, this is hard. Well, yeah, you want to be the number one ice skater or the number one skier on the planet? Yeah, it's going to be hard. You came here to have an experience that would reach into you and pull and require you to find that well of strength. You came here for an experience that would require you to open up and go, wait a minute, man, there's got to be something more than this. So it's difficult because you wanted it to be. It's challenging because you wanted it to be. You're a fucking God in a human suit. Of course you wanted a challenge. You made the planet, you made the universe, you made the cosmos, you made it all. Why wouldn't you want something that would challenge you? Suffering, on the other hand, is another conversation. Suffering is a choice. Suffering exists when I have the desire to exit or escape or deny my circumstances. Suffering is created when I believe that this thing has got to end in order for me to be happy. When I believe that, suffering is the desire to escape the present moment. And surrender says, okay, I don't like it, but I'm here. I don't know how I'm going to get myself out of this, but I'm here. When I accept where I am, immediately it reveals itself to me what it is, and then I can begin to move through it. I can begin to shift it. If I'm not acknowledging that I'm sick, I can't heal. So we got to be willing, again, to sit with those tough questions, to hear the difficult answers, to have the challenging conversations. Because on the other side of that is the thing that we are looking for. It's always here. It's always now. So when chaos shows up, you can say, all right, man, I can't wait to see how this plays out. I can't wait to see what this holds for me. I know that there's a jewel in the mud here. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. And I came here to have an experience that is commensurate with my abilities as a master. So I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I'm going to meet it. I'm going to meet myself where I am. And when it's time, it's time. I promise you, when it is time to make a choice, it will be so clear. When it is time to decide, it will be so clear. You will know it like you know your name. And just because you don't know what choice to make or what's on the other side of it or where that road is going, doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. Nobody knows where they're going. Nobody knows what they're doing. The best we can hope for is to have an intention, to have a plan, and proceed in the direction of it, and then just trust that if something goes sideways, all right, well, look, this is what I know to be true. If something doesn't go my way, it's because I'm either being protected from something or prepared for something greater. That's all I need to know. And the how, not my concern right now. If the why is important, then I trust I'll be given that too. Some things aren't meant to make sense. Some things are here simply to call us to a deeper level of truth. And here's the last thing that I'm going to leave you guys with. On the subject of truth. Only you know what truth feels like, and truth is always simple. The truth is always simple, and the only time the truth ever becomes complicated is when we are denying it, when we are trying to hide from it, when we are trying to avoid it, when we are trying to skate over it or withhold it from somebody. The truth is always simple. And it only becomes complicated or tangled or twisted when we are trying to avoid it or ignore it or escape it or withhold it or hide it. Perfect timing for me to end this because one of my phones is about to die. I hope that this helps. Chaos is your friend. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Andrew Martin Energy. If you want to book a session with me, go to my website, andrewmartin.energy. I love you guys. Have a fantastic weekend. Oh, and for those of you in London, go to the College of Psychic Studies website because I'm going to be there in just a couple of weeks. Also, those of you in LA, I'm going to be coming for you soon, hopefully in March. Thank you guys for watching. I love you. Mwah! Have a great weekend. Bye.